The rain fell on Oakwood Meadows in a steady, dreary hiss, slicking the asphalt and blurring the streetlights. In the driver's seat of a pristine, restored 1970 Chevelle, Sergeant Malik Carter tried to quiet the storm in his own mind. He was a United States Marine raider, a man forged in the deserts of Syria and the mountains of Afghanistan, but here, in his own hometown, he felt a different kind of vulnerability. His father was in the hospital, and the 72-hour emergency leave pass in his pocket felt as fragile as tissue paper. The Chevelle was his dad's pride and joy, the project they'd built together, a tangible memory of a happier time. Stay tuned and let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe to Black Truth Edition on YouTube for social justice stories like this. Let's get into it. His sharp, focused eyes, trained to detect the slightest anomaly in a combat zone, saw the police cruiser too late. It pulled out with a predatory smoothness, lights flashing, siren giving a single, aggressive whoop. Malik's jaw tightened. He pulled over, his posture instinctively ramrod straight, even in the driver's seat. Officer Chad Dobbs approached, his bulk exaggerated by his duty belt, a permanent swagger in his step. To him, Oakwood Meadows was his personal fiefdom, and a black man in a classic car was a paradox that screamed for his attention. He shone his flashlight directly into Malik's eyes. "License and registration," Dobbs barked, his voice dripping with contempt. Malik, trained in de-escalation, remained calm. "Good evening, officer. It's my father's car. The registration is in the glove compartment." He moved slowly, deliberately, retrieving the documents and handing over his driver's license along with his military ID. Dobbs flicked the military ID with his thumb. "Marine, huh? Where'd you get this? A costume shop? Step out of the vehicle. Keep your hands where I can see them." A cold fury began to simmer beneath Malik's calm exterior. "Officer, that ID is legitimate. I am on active duty." Dobbs leaned in, his face close. "I said, out of the car. Now." In the cold drizzle, the humiliation began. Dobbs pat him down aggressively, pushing him against the wet hood of the Chevelle. He emptied the glove box, scattering old receipts and the manual onto the passenger seat. "Looks like a lot of old junk to me," he smirked. Then his eyes fell on a small, locked metal case. "What's in here? Contraband? Weapons?" "That case contains my active-duty secure communications device," Malik said, his voice turning to ice. "You do not have the authority to open it." Dobbs laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. "In my town, I have all the authority I need." He tried to pry it open with his knife, scarring the metal. Then, Dobbs saw the photo taped to the dashboard. Malik and his father, both smiling. He snatched it. "And who's this? Your accomplice?" That was the final straw. The violation of his gear was one thing, but the disrespect to his father was a line crossed. "That is my father. He's in the hospital. I'm on emergency leave." Dobbs sneered, crumpling the photo slightly before tossing it back. "Touching story. Now about that box. I'm impounding the vehicle." Malik slowly reached into his inner jacket pocket. "I said, hands where I can see them," Dobbs yelled, unsnapping his holster. Malik ignored him. He pulled out a small, ruggedized satellite phone with a single, prominent blue button. "You want to see my chain of command, Officer Dobbs? Here it is." He pressed the button. A light glowed blue. A calm, synthesized voice stated, "Identity confirmed. Sergeant Malik Carter, MARSOC. Priority, 1 channel open." Dobbs's smirk faltered. "What the hell is that?" Malik spoke clearly, his voice flat and professional. "This is Sergeant Carter. I am being illegally detained and searched. My active duty status is being disregarded. Request immediate JAG and command liaison. My GPS is active." A new voice, sharp and devoid of emotion, responded instantly. "Acknowledged, Sergeant. Stand by. The situation is being elevated to the NMCC." The line went dead. Dobbs stared, confused and angry. But then his personal cell phone, his patrol car radio, and his partner's radio in a second cruiser all erupted simultaneously. The police chief's panicked voice blared from the car speaker. "Dobbs,
Stand down.
I repeat, stand down immediately. Dobbs answered his ringing personal phone. Hello. The voice on the other end was cold and precise, carrying the weight of ultimate authority. Officer Chad Dobbs, badge number 1874. This is General Richard Stockwell, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. You have 60 seconds to put Sergeant Carter on the line before I have a squadron of Rangers rappel onto your street. As if on cue, the deafening roar of multiple helicopters filled the air. 2 sleek, black MH-6 Little Bird helicopters descended, their searchlights cutting through the rain and illuminating the scene in stark, dramatic relief. Dobbs's face went white with sheer, uncomprehending terror. Before the 60 seconds were up, a black SUV with government plates screeched to a halt. NCIS agents swarmed out. The lead agent, a man with a jawline of granite, flashed a badge. You are to cease all interaction with Sergeant Carter. Step away.
Now.
The agents secured the scene. Chief O'Malley arrived, rushing over. I apologize. We can handle this internally. There is no internal, the NCIS agent interrupted. The Department of Defense has jurisdiction. Malik's satellite phone buzzed. General Stockwell was back on the line. Sergeant Carter, a car is en route to take you to your father. We've expedited his transfer to Bethesda Naval Hospital. Top specialists are waiting. A wave of relief, so potent it nearly buckled his knees, washed over Malik. Thank you, General. Chief O'Malley took the phone, listened for a moment, his face growing paler, and then suspended Dobbs on the spot. But as Dobbs was disarmed, Malik noticed his eyes darting repeatedly toward the dashcam on his own patrol car. It wasn't the fear of discipline. It was the fear of a recording. Sir, Malik said to the lead NCIS agent, that dashcam, I want the footage from the last 48 hours. Specifically, any communications he had after he ran my plates. The footage was damning. It showed Dobbs running the plates, then making a call on his personal cell phone before he even turned on his lights. The number was registered to City Councilman Gregory Thorne, the charismatic leader of the Clean Up Oakwood campaign, a man deeply entangled with a developer named Pinnacle Properties. This wasn't random racism. It was a targeted directive. Malik, a decorated Marine, had been chosen as a pawn in a gentrification scheme, a problem, to be manufactured to justify clearing out the neighborhood for high-end condos. As this revelation sank in, Malik's encrypted phone buzzed with a message from a shielded number. Asterisk, the pawn is down. Oakwood isn't about safety. It's about profit. Ask the general about Operation Homestead. Asterisk. When General Stockwell, now on a secure video link, heard the name, his face turned to stone. Operation Homestead is a threat assessment AI designed to protect military families. It's overseen by Deputy Secretary of Defense Evelyn Reed. The pieces of the conspiracy snapped into a terrifying whole. Reed was corrupt. She had used a corrupted military system to pick their target, feeding Malik's information to Thorne, who ordered Dobbs to create an incident. A headline of a Marine vet causing trouble would have served their purposes perfectly. The trap was set. Instead of arresting Reed immediately, they initiated a level 4 force protection drill, a simulated threat against Malik. As they predicted, Reed took the bait, urging a full, real-world activation of Homestead to neutralize the threats. But as she activated the system, their tech team tracked her digital footsteps. She wasn't just a traitor, she was a thief. Every false threat she flagged was generating a wire transfer from a shadow budget into her own offshore account. She was weaponizing the U.S. military for personal profit. The final, damning evidence came in the form of a live security feed. Shadowy figures were approaching Malik's father's empty house, carrying firebombs. Reed's voice came over the comm, cold and triumphant. When this Marine's family home is a burnout shell, the country will demand the safety only Homestead can provide. But she had overplayed her hand. The NCIS, coordinating with the local SWAT team they had quietly positioned, moved in. The would-be arsonists, hired goons from Pinnacle Properties, were captured before they could strike. The evidence trail, the financial records, the recorded calls between Reed, Thorne, and the CEO of Pinnacle was overwhelming. In the days that followed, the House of Cards collapsed completely. Deputy Secretary Evelyn Reed, Councilman Thorne, and the CEO were arrested for treason, corruption, and domestic terrorism. Officer Dobbs, facing federal charges, testified against them all to avoid a life sentence. Weeks later, the rain had finally ceased. Under a clear, sunny sky, Malik stood beside his father, who was now recovering robustly, at a community ceremony. General Stockwell was there, and he clasped Malik's hand. "You saved more than your own honor, Sergeant," the general said. "You exposed a cancer within our own system." Malik looked at his father, then at the crowd of neighbors from all backgrounds who had gathered. "We did, sir. By remembering that our strength isn't just in fighting foreign enemies, but in protecting our values at home." The scandal led to a complete overhaul of Operation Homestead and new protections for service members. The Clean Up Oakwood campaign was disbanded, its bigotry exposed for what it was. As the ceremony ended, Malik helped his father back into the Chevelle. The car, like their family, had been through a trial, but it remained strong. The real battle, he realized, wasn't always in some distant desert. Sometimes the most important front lines were the streets you called home. And the greatest victory was returning to them with your integrity and your family intact. Like this story? Subscribe for more powerful dramas about overcoming injustice and building success against all odds. Hit the bell to never miss a video.